It is the first full week of November and the preamble for the Jalapeños Invitational this weekend. Full swing action for the men's wheelchair basketball team and a lot of excitement around the adapted athletics program as a whole at the University of Alabama. Welcome to everyone watching around the world. I'm Spencer Tomsett alongside Alex Boothe. Proud to be with you in Northport, Alabama. First time that we've ever done a coaches show, or dubbing this the Adapted Athletics Hour, because it's more than just one coach and more than just coaches being interviewed. And we're here on site at the Jalapeños Mexican Grill in Northport, Alabama. And, you know, Alex, there's the term that's somewhat cliche is labor of love, but it certainly was a labor of love to get this coordinated, to get everything laid out. But we've got a great show ahead, and it's going to be special. Yeah, very special show. Like you said, the first time where we've really gotten out and done a live show here at one of our sponsors, Jalapeños being an amazing sponsor, willing to host this live show. This is our fifth coaches show of the season. The other four are already posted on the Adapted Athletics website where you're watching, BamaAdapted.com, and on our YouTube at Bama Adapted Athletics. But we have an exciting show ahead. We have coaches from all four of our sports: men's wheelchair basketball, women's wheelchair basketball, para track and field, and para tennis. And we're excited to have all those coaches as well as athletes on the show today. And I think it's even more important to highlight all these programs because we start out, of course, with Coach Hines. We'll get him on in a minute. But the women's team, they had a really good showing in the ABC Medical Classic. Of course, tied tip-off has already happened for both of the basketball teams, and it's been incredible in that own right. But we were on call for the ABC Medical Classic, and you had the only challenge was that they were beaten by themselves, or their legends in that regard, had a great showing against Lakeshore. Yeah, they had a great showing against Lakeshore. Tougher competition against the legends as they play professionals, and those are a lot of their coaches and graduated former players on that, making up that team. So very tough competition there. But like you said, they look great against Lakeshore. They were able to respond with a win after taking a loss, the women's team that is, earlier on in the day to ABC Medical. And even though they have this month off in November, I know head coach Ryan Hines has the team still focused. And we'll talk to him about that in a little bit. We'll also talk with Coach Ford Bertram of the men's team, who they were the only other team, at least on the basketball side, that was active between now and the ABC Medical Classic. What ended up being a last-second confirmation of we're counting this game was a game against Auburn, and even with all of that factoring in, 78-57, getting that W on the road nonetheless. It's already tough whenever you have an Iron Bowl in any sort of sport, but to be able to do that on last-second notice and change that mentality, I'm sure Coach Ford and company will have a lot to say about that. Yeah, and those two teams, like you said, really came together last minute and got this game scheduled in Albertville at the Sand Mountain Showdown. Really close game at halftime. Alabama really leading by single digits, and as you said, really able to pull away in the second half and win that game against the Auburn Tigers. Yeah, and you also think about the wheelchair tennis team and the kind of the season they've had so far. There's a 1-month break that they've had in between their matchups, and more particularly, the tennis team is undefeated right now. It wins against UCLA and Clemson and Michigan. Top teams that are not ones to mess with. So we'll talk with Coach Kyler McKay about it. But the tennis team, not covered as much on the broadcast side, so we're going to make sure to highlight them as best as we can and maybe add some broadcasts going forward. But the tennis team's doing pretty well. Yeah, tennis team coming off a national championship sweep last year against San Diego State. Of course, this is Tyler McKay's first season as the para-tennis head coach, so trying to get the team back there in his first year as the head coach. So far, he's doing a terrific job. And you talk about first-year head coaches. Evan Williams starting not just the first year of him at the helm of this program, the first year ever of the program being existed specifically for para track and field. And they're leading up to try and get things going. Right now, the only thing on their schedule is events that are happening in March, but there's a lot of exciting stuff going on behind the scenes, and we'll get a chance to talk with them today about that. Yeah, the entire Alabama Adapted Athletics Department is extremely excited to be able to add para track and field this year. In fact, I've sat down and talked to head coach Evan Williams about this some, and they're just really excited to bring in all the new athletes that are even willing to come to University of Alabama and play for the first year of para track and field. And some athletes are coming over from tennis and wheelchair basketball as well, willing to play para track and field during the spring since it comes on after the basketball season ends. And I think the element that we are looking most forward to now, for full disclosure, right before we went live, we said we wanted this as an aesthetic. You could not keep. It is so difficult right now because I have tried all three of these: the salsa, the queso, the guacamole. I'm not as much on the guacamole, but this might actually turn me. But we'll have Giovanni Gomez, the owner of Jalapeños Mexican Grill, on, and we get to do a little bit of a tasting, a flight of jalapenos in a sense, because they're going to have a recommended margarita we're going to taste. Drink responsibly. We're both over 21. We'll also have the fajita gumbo, which in its own right, you can't say enough about that. And then the fried ice cream is also going to be on air. Now, normally I'm not in favor of eating things on television, but boy, will it ever be good.
Well, the fajita gumbo is their signature dish here at Jalapeños, and it is just wonderful. I get it every single time I come to Jalapeños. It's just a dish that I really feel like I come here and leave without it. So I always make sure when I come to Jalapeños, I get my go.
It's going to be a special adapted athletics. You can see the crowd is already making it special in its own right, and we're going to get to interview a whole bunch of the coaches. A lot of sponsors we have to thank for this, Jalapeños in particular. We're going to go ahead and get to the other side of commercial in a few moments. Coach Ryan Hines, joined by wheelchair basketball women's athlete Bailey Moody, will be joining us in a few moments to talk about their season and what has been going well for them. So we will be back in just a few moments here on BamaAdapted.com.
As a leader in continence care products and education, Hollister Incorporated and Secure Start Services are here as your trusted information resource for catheters, urinary collection, and continence care needs. Our job is to help support you. Having comprehensive support services at your fingertips is more important than ever. And Hollister Secure Start Services is here to help. We offer free, customized support for those who use continence care products, regardless of the brand being used. Here's how it works. Upon enrollment, a dedicated Secure Start Services team member can check in periodically for ongoing personalized support throughout the patient journey. This includes finding the right products. Based on qualifying criteria, we can fit most cleaning materials and lifestyle to people who help support an active life. Navigating supplier matching information to provide prizes help from care. You don't have to do it alone. Hollister Secure Services is here to help.
Jalapeños Mexican Grill. The only thing we love more than our cuisine is serving your family wherever you are. Jalapeños, home of our fancy go now treasure nationwide. Get a taste of our steak, chicken, and shrimp blend covered in pico de gallo and our signature cheese sauce. Send a loved one some gumbo or bring your family by any one of our locations. Show some love this season with Jalapeños Mexican Grill.
For your passion. For your ambition. GK wheelchairs are made to individual as you are, like an extension of your body to maximize your potential, to enhance your confidence. We take over 30 measurements with millimeter precision to ensure your perfect fit. Optimizing your comfort performance. Is real to you. Five us are
As a leader in continence care products,
Athletics Hour served up by Jalapeños Mexican Grill. We are privileged to be joined by the head coach of the women's wheelchair basketball team, Coach Ryan Hines, and one of the star athletes for the team, Bailey Moody. Appreciate you both taking the time on your busy schedules to be with us, and well, at least busy on the academic side and the practice side, because you guys have had a bit of a break in between your tournaments. How has that been kind of cute to Whitewater?
Yeah, girls at practice have been doing a great job, especially with this kind of hiatus in games right now. But everybody's working hard. We kind of know our ultimate goal, and we know that we've got a lot of work to do to get there.
Here to be here and to be doing what we can to grow the team and just because our shorter.
With the you were that was over in one of the Thailand. That's had that kind of seemed like you were reasons are difficult in themselves to beat in that regard, especially when you were at the Star Elmford against Lakeshore. But what was your assessment?
A good starting. Good part. I think the team had good chemistry. Just a lot of stuff, like just getting used to playing with each other. Turnovers that just didn't have offense we can fix, but starting point off of.
Talked about the chemistry, and that's from a player standpoint. How do you feel the chemistry is right now with the team?
I think as far as just do we like each other, and we have a lot of fun, which I think goes into them playing good basketball too. So excited about this year's team for sure.
Bailey, from the student athlete perspective, you've already talked about coming and winning, being able to the Pan Am Games here later on this. What is it like for you as a student athlete to be able to balance tournaments?
A lot of balls in the air, trying to juggle it. Some rest and try and bring what I to everything, and live at the halfway point in the end. So I'm doing the best that I can there for sure.
Yeah, and you shouldn't get no Mackie socks or the walk up and down the court afterwards or anything along those lines. What are your pre-game rituals ready for a game?
A lot of pre-game rituals. I do like to make sure I'm keeping the game of basketball fun. So make sure I'm joking around, really staying. It puts them in my head. Actions I'm having, the more loose, the more fun I have for sure.
I'm sure your Olympic head champ sort of tradition you have.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of socks, I have a few.
Perfect.
I'm in a certain color, so yeah, definitely have some.
And Coach Hines, things like in itself, but what is it like for your team as they kind of have more than a month now, and when Wisconsin
since our last tournament, because we do have a little break before our next game. Just super impressed with the girls, how I've been working at practice. Every day is our goal, even though it isn't until December 1st and 2nd that we play again. But we're going to be ready when that time. You know, some girls coming back from Chile after Parapans, but we're excited, we're ready. So. And
you being in things, there's issues no matter what level of sport you had. It's about establishing, having a sort of team environment. What season or do you try to certain method?
But the biggest thing for me is just family. I think easier to instill that culture when you have the right people in place already.
And Bailey, on that aspect, you know, certainly the leadership does start from the top in that regard. And as Coach mentioned, one of the top players for the women's team. What kind of culture do you try to reinforce that Coach Hines is?
I definitely think we a culture that's looking out for each other all the time. I think we do have a lot of closeness on the team and a lot of just we enjoy being around each other, and we would do anything for each other, and I think that's obviously a really good thing for teams to have. But just trying to bring support from the top and from a leadership standpoint, and then that flows from them too. We have a team full of leaders and people that are willing to just support their teammates and be vocal in that way as well.
And when you have these international tournaments, obviously you play with mates as well in some of these tournaments. What's it like just sharing those experienced teammates that, you know, you get to see and at Alabama?
It's a blessing for sure. We do a lot of things together. We do really cool things together. We bring that chemistry back to Bama, but also we just have developed a closeness because of that and because of the travel we've done together.
And Coach, one of the things we did leading up to the coaches show is we had the fans give a chance to ask questions in that regard. Of course, we filtered out certain ones of them, but I think you'll appreciate this one, and especially when it comes to adapted athletics, recruitment is a heavy part of it. You hear about it around the building whenever we have potential athletes who are coming in that whether it's the stream they're watching or the games that they're seeing or the people they meet.
Team in some way. So that's the first thing. Second thing is going to be academics. Like, first of all, they're going to be able to be accepted into the university. Are they going to be able to be successful in what they want to do academically? And then the last thing is important, but basketball, like, do they have the potential to add to the team from a basketball and athletic perspective? And those are really the three areas that I look at. And if you don't check the first one, you don't go to the second, you don't go to the
Bailey, I want to flip an athlete's perspective. We hear all the time athletes that teams are here from the coach. What do you think any athletes who are considering coming to the University of Alabama in athletics, what should they
Careful, Bailey.
Actually, truly, like, Coach Hines is probably the best coach that I've ever had. Coach me in basketball, care about me as an athlete, just create a team culture that really supports. He's a great coach. He knows coach, and he but also pushes me. Also, on and off the court, like, it's not just on the basketball. He cares for it as people, and we'll do too.
Dinner later.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. That we know. We already. I think we got that from the answer on that. Another one of the fans is a good one. There's one favorite.
You want to go first on? Okay. That's why I have a huge sweet candy's great, but my go-to a brownie. Staple, I would say. You can't go wrong with.
I also.
Yes.
Okay.
So Halloween. What's the go-to candy?
Go-to candy. Again, anything sweet I'm in on, but I probably, and the girls actually got, probably these would be melon,
oh yeah,
and then Starburst.
Favorite Halloween candy?
Dumbo, M&Ms.
Okay. So there's peanut butter M&Ms. Try those with M&Ms. You've got the saltine peanut. I don't know, Alex.
I always like to set the gun there too.
All right. Well, Coach Bailey, appreciate you both taking the time and looking forward to your performance in the road trip against Whitewater, Wisconsin. The 12-hour bus ride that we'll looking forward to in a little bit of time. So that's going to wrap it up. Ford Bertram will join us with Aaron Berry. We'll be back in a few moments. In. Ready? Welcome back to the Adapted Athletics Hour, live on site at the Northport location of Jalapeños Mexican Grill. Spencer Tomsett, Alex Boothe. We are privileged to be joined by Coach Ford Bertram and one of the many great athletes we have on the men's wheelchair basketball team, Aaron Aaron Berry. Coach, appreciate you and Aaron, both of you taking the time to come on. And you guys have been busy the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the ABC Medical Classic, and then the sudden change or a change of mentality, in a sense, not knowing that your game against Auburn was going to count for the collegiate record. So, what has your thought been on how the team has done during this stretch?
I think that there's been some times that they really performed well, and then there's also some examples of things we can work on. So we never quite settle, and we always are striving for excellence, and I think that we're getting closer to it every day, and this group really comes and works hard and also brings a positive mindset, and that's a beautiful thing to behold and to be part of.
And Aaron, from a player's perspective, when you were notified a few days before your scrimmage against Auburn, was there any challenge in changing that mindset of this game counts as opposed to this is just a scrimmage?
Not necessarily. I mean, we all went in there thinking it's Auburn. We're going to take it as serious as if it was a game at the time, not knowing that it was. But when we found out that it counted as a sanctioned collegiate game, it kind of, me personally, I got more excited just because, knowing that we've been working hard and knowing that our hard work was going to pay off and it would count towards something.
Absolutely, in that regard. And, especially this weekend, so the men's team is active. The women's team will be cheering you guys on the sidelines, and you've got some good opponents set forward in the Jalapeños Invitational. What have you been talking to the team or emphasizing most to them heading into this weekend?
I think the thing that we've been emphasizing the most is more or less like we've got to do what we do, and we've got to do it really well.
Yep.
And we've got to compete at a high level. We've got to have the mentality that we are not going to get pushed around no matter who we play, older opponents, younger opponents, whatever the case may be, and we've got to stick to the game plan and play as a team. And really we've been working on self-control and making sure our mindset doesn't let us get too high or too low when a team makes a run or when we go on a run, to be able to, just kind of maintain the course and do what we do and do it effectively.
And especially in these tournaments, Aaron, you tend to play multiple teams on the road or at home throughout the season. Are there any players or teams this weekend that you look at and like, I'm ready to get a second crack at it?
I'm not sure. I mean, Lakeshore was fun to beat up on. And then we'll be playing Charlotte, Lakeshore, and I forgot who the third team we're playing is.
AR.
So I don't think. Okay, so I don't think I've played. I haven't played Charlotte before or the WW team from Tampa, but I played Lakeshore. I'm looking forward to beating up on them again, and I'm really looking forward to be playing against Charlotte because they'll have a pretty good crew down this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that.
You get to battle against Paul Schulte, two
to
former alums, Ryan Nieswinder, Chase Wolf, all USA members in their own right, two alums coming back to Tuscaloosa. So I'm excited to let those guys remember what it was like to be in college and to feel our wrath that they are not in college these days.
Coach Bertram, I've had the opportunity to watch a couple of y'all's practices, and it always feels like there's a sense of intensity during practice. But more than anything, what stands out to me is just the communication in between the team during practice. Just how much is that stressed by the coaching staff for the team to really practice and harp on that communication during practice so that they're ready to communicate as a team in the game?
So we have two things that we say that you can always control, and that's your effort and communication, right? And even when things are not going your way, if you still are putting out really good effort and putting out really good communication, then the tide will swing your way at some point, right? So the intensity that we bring at practice is really prevalent because it enables us to do what we do at a very high level. And if they can do it during practice for 2 hours, they can do it for an hour during a game. So we really stress it a lot and we talk about it a lot.
And for your practices, obviously you have the Jalapeños Invitational coming up this weekend. Is that something that they kind of change whether or not you have a tournament coming up that weekend, whether or not it's an off weekend, or is that something once you get into the season, they're kind of standard every single week you're expecting the same stuff?
No, so we change it up, right? So with us, game weeks are definitely more scrimmage based, and we work on specific tasks on the offensive and defensive end, depending on the opponent we're going to play. And then, throughout the weeks when we have an off weekend, we'll work on our fundamentals a lot more and work on really digesting what has already happened and see what we can improve on. So it really varies, but game weeks are always more competitive days, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things that's important to control is your preparation for the game or the specific superstitions you may have leading up to a game. So I'm interested to know, Coach, what are the pregame rituals for Coach Ford Bertram that has to do this in a superstitious sense leading up to game time?
So for me, there's a couple, right? I definitely have a couple. I have a coin that my wife and my son gave me that I've had for several years that I take with me. It's in my bag everywhere I go, so it's always near me. And then I have to, we have to have our pregame meeting an hour before the game. I like to arrive at an arena 2 hours before a game.
Same area.
I like to make sure that we are out and going and talking and moving 30 minutes before the game. I like to make sure that I'm writing on my board, ready to talk to them when they come in at the 2.5-minute mark at about 14 minutes left to go in the clock. So all those things like tick, 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 tick. Once I start ticking those down and that 2.5-minute barrier kicks in, I know it's time to go.
Aaron, any superstitions you have prior to game time?
I actually do. For every home tournament, I'll always go to Fresh Market and I'll get a Poke Bowl, a
nice.
panini, a bag of chips, and a large bottle of Smart Water. And I'll have the Poke Bowl, and then I'll save the panini for the post game.
Oh, that's
Post-game
great.
late night snack.
Now, and part of that as well, you talked about how you've seemed to kind of establish this culture within your team and having that leadership come from the top in a sense. When you look at the kind of culture you want to establish from the start of the season, what are some of the top things that you think are this is how, not necessarily this is how the team should run, but this is what I want to instill in the team to try and set you up for success on the season?
Well, so you have to evaluate each team as they come. You can't just say, hey, this is how it's going to be for every team moving forward. And, we talk a lot about culture and how it affects or doesn't affect things. And for us, it's not really a culture, it's a mindset. And so we want to instill the right mindset, and you have to look at the team that you have. Some teams are older, some are more seasoned, some are younger, some need some learning, some need some guidance, some need you to coach them real hard, and some need some positivity. So you have to really evaluate that in between seasons, right, in the dead time that you get during the summer. But I really think that for the culture of this team in particular, it really needs a lot of positive reinforcement, and I think that's a mindset that you have to look at your players and realize that they all have that sort of mindset and help them along with it and make sure that it's communicated from top to bottom and that they're communicating that way with each other as well.
And Aaron, in from a player standpoint, there's certainly the first few days can be a little bit shaky at times, or it can be really great where you immediately click with people, or sometimes you have to work on that chemistry. From your perspective, what have the relationships meant to you that you've been able to build with your brothers in a sense?
Yeah, for sure. So, every team has, there's times where every team doesn't get along at times, or, there's cliques and, every single team doesn't get along 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But overall, we are brothers, and we consider each other family. And every single one of us will have everyone's back no matter what. Relationships in the locker room are amazing. Relationships on the court are amazing. We're competitive, we're loud, we're fierce, we're energetic. But overall, I personally consider every single one of my teammates a brother and family.
Aaron, just from a student-athlete perspective, what is it like for you being able to balance being a student at the University of Alabama while also competing in all these different events as well?
It's busy. There's times where I'm stressed. There's times where I don't really know how to balance everything. But in the end, the program and the University of Alabama provides all of the students and athletes with all of the resources that we need to maintain a balanced and accomplished lifestyle while being a student athlete. So it's everything that I could ask for and more.
And if you could just tell possibly future recruits something about Coach Bertram that they need to know, what would that be?
Yeah, no matter what your capabilities are, no matter your skill set, Coach Ford will get the best out of you. So if you come to Bama, you will improve as not only an athlete, but as an individual in life, because the lessons that he teaches you do not pertain just to basketball. They pertain to life as well.
And part of that as well, we did a social media poll, and a lot of these questions have been blended in from what some people have asked. So on that accord, Coach, certainly on your part, you mentioned in the summer there's a lot that goes into assembling a team. What sort of traits or specific behaviors do you look for on players that tells you this is a good fit to be within the Adapted Athletics men's wheelchair basketball team?
So we look for a couple of common things, right? I look for academics throughout, no matter who I'm recruiting. Academics is a very, very easy one to identify. We look for talent level, but above all, I look for character. Like, I look to see if they're doing the little things to make others around them better, and if they are willing to swallow their pride and do the dirty work so somebody else can succeed, or if they're willing to pat somebody on the back when they're down, or how they talk to their coaches or how they interact with their coaches. So I do a lot of research on the young men that I recruit, and it's a very small group that I recruit, really, to be honest with you. And I've been very blessed to have a group of wonderful young men in my locker room.
Now, we asked this and got a pretty good standard set by Coach Hines and Bailey Moody. If there's a favorite dessert you have, or candy, or anything that activates the sweet tooth, what would it be?
For me, it's butterscotch pie.
Ford does have a sweet tooth, so he's got good taste. So whatever he says is definitely high up there.
I do. I love me some sweets. So I like butterscotch pie. It's a homemade recipe, and we don't get a chance to make it too often, but when we do, it's pretty delicious. I also like Reese's Cups and Twizzlers. So those are kind of my top choices.
For me, I'm going to have to go with, good old classic chocolate cake. There's not many things that are better than a good chocolate cake.
There's some good ones with that. All right, well, we appreciate you both taking the time, and best of luck to you in the Jalapeños Invitational this weekend.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Roll Tide, roll. We will be back in a few moments. After commercial, we will speak with Coach Tyler McKay and wheelchair tennis athlete Max Barbier. We will be right back here on BamaAdapted.com to continue the Adapted Athletics Hour.
As a leader in application, Hollister Incorporated and Secure Start Services are here as your trusted information resource for intermittent catheters, urinary collection, and continence care needs. Our job is to help support you. Having comprehensive support services at your fingertips is more important than ever, and Hollister Secure Start Services is here to help. We offer free, customized support for those who use continence care products regardless of the brand being used. Here's how it works. Upon enrollment, a dedicated Secure Start Services team member serves as the main point of contact. This advisor will call to explain services, answer any questions, and check in periodically for ongoing personalized support throughout the patient journey. This includes finding the right products. Based on qualifying criteria, we can recommend the best product to fit most clinical needs. Access to continence care education materials and lifestyle information. We have long-standing relationships with a variety of organizations and can provide connections to the people, knowledge, and tools needed to help support an active life. Navigating supplier matching information. We can connect you with a supplier based on the insurance plan and the supplier's ability to provide the preferred products. If the need arises, clinician access. We have trained nurses available to assist with product questions and help with troubleshooting. These services are all available as a Hollister Secure Start Services member at no cost, regardless of the brand of products being used. We asked members what they thought, and here's what they told us. 98% of patients were glad they enrolled in Secure Start Services. 97% of patients appreciated getting a call from Secure Start Services. 95% of patients were satisfied with the overall experience of speaking with Secure Start Services. When you're ready to make the transition from care, you don't have to do it alone. Hollister Secure Start Services is here to help.
Welcome back to the Adapted Athletics Hour, served up by Jalapeños Mexican Grill. We are privileged to be joined by the head coach for the wheelchair tennis program here, Coach Tyler McKay, and joined by the athlete, is it Max Barbier? Am I pronouncing that right? Barbier. Perfect. Make sure I get that right if we call a tennis match. All right. Well, Coach, you know that you've had at least a break here of about a month between the ITA Cup and now heading up to the Auburn Open this weekend during the Jalapeños Invitational. What has that break been like for you in reassessing where the team is?
Yeah, well, it's given us a chance to review our past matches and look at some film, make a game plan for our training regimen, what we want to focus on, what we want to do. And with our schedule being spread out, that's a pretty normal part of the tennis schedule. It does give us a chance after every match to kind of slow down, take a look at things, make the adjustments, changes that we need to. And so we've been just trying to put in the work. We've, like I said, had about a month. We've been playing every day. And, again, hopefully this time come in with a little different game plan and ready to go.
And Max, after that ITA Cup, it's certainly great that the team is off to a 3-0 game start. How have you felt your performance has been through the start of the season?
I think so far it's been pretty good. It could definitely be better. Starting off the record as it's standing now, I think that it definitely can improve as the season goes on. But right now we're just focused on getting prepared for this weekend and getting ready to get back on court and try to get a W.
And certainly, Coach, I want to ask about that. You know, it's always tough whenever you face off against Auburn, whether it's in the Adapted Athletics program or athletics on campus, because the Iron Bowl just has this sort of mantra around it. What's if there's any major focus or message you have for the team heading into this weekend, what would it be?
Yeah, well, our message is to really, play the way we practice. We try every day to give our best effort, to put thought into our game, into, again, kind of the tactics, ins and outs of tennis. And so our message going in is really to play smart and play hard. And obviously there's a little bit extra energy when you play the in-state rival, when you play Auburn and you're Alabama. However, our game plan, playing each other in practice, is the same as it is when we play an opponent. We try to give it our best shot, do what we can on the court and all that. So, again, the extra energy is great. We love it. It's a fun part of being at this university, but at the same time, it doesn't really change what we do on court. Play who's in front of us, whoever that is.
Coach McKay, for you, it's your first year here as the tennis coach. What is it like taking over the program this offseason, and how are your practices kind of different when it comes to the offseason versus when you're in season like you are now?
Yeah, off-season's a little bit relaxed. You can take your time, maybe focusing on one part of your game and really try to just hammer in a couple different things, technique-wise and all that. In season, we try to really focus a little bit more into the tactics and all that of our gameplay. With the amount of time we do have time for everything to look into things a little bit more deeply. However, during season, especially again, different things we can actually use in our gameplay to hopefully give it a little bit better effort. And taking over the program has been fun. I've been a part of this program as an assistant, and I love college athletics. I love coaching tennis, and really just been enjoying being able to take over the program and work with guys like Max. And overall, it's just been a real joy, for sure.
Part of that as well. We've been asking the other coaches this because one of the fans brought this forward. Sport is very superstitious in several ways. We have our kind of mantras and rituals that we do to try and, whether it's lucky shoes or socks or having a certain angle during free throws. What would you say your pregame rituals are to make sure you're in the right mindset?
I'm not a superstitious guy. I'm really not. Now, we do have our normal warm-up routine that is pretty standard before every match. The way we kind of prepare on court, we usually have about an hour between hitting the courts and when the match starts, and we go through the different strokes and we let the players hit with each other for a bit. I do like to hand some of the hype duties off to my players. They hear me talk all the time during the week, during the month leading up to this game. And so that's something I like some of the leaders of the team, guys like Max, to kind of take over a little bit of the pregame huddle rituals and things like that is something I kind of like to pass to the players on the team. I'll give a short message, but I'm not a guy that really believes in a ton of luck and all that. I'm a little more kind of believe in the work that we put in and the training that we do. And Max might have a little more fun answer on that, but I'm not a superstitious guy.
I think with tennis and having a team of two, it's more kind of up to the individual player themselves of what their pregame ritual is going to be. I would say as a team, we don't really have one. I have for one, am a very superstitious player. I wear the same headband every match. I wear the same wristbands every match. I don't wash that headband at all. Like, it's not
At the end of the season, at least?
Well, at the end of the season, I'll wash it.
Okay, good.
And maybe in between matches if we lost the last one. But I don't. I say the same thing every time. I listen to the same playlist before every match. It's really, with tennis, it's more of an individualistic player ritual, I feel like, and especially with a team of two, that's kind of what it kind of comes down to at the end of the day.
So do not walk near Max after he's just had an epic backcourt swing, or especially if it's a hot day out on the courts in Tuscaloosa in August. Do not walk near him with that headband.
Thankfully, it's just the headband.
I wash the rest of my clothes. I wash my uniforms.
I'm glad we established that.
I don't wash that headband, though.
You can clearly tell through your interactions that there's definitely a lot of chemistry between the coach and player, and we see that especially with successful teams in that regard. Especially with you being in your first year, you had the option to establish how you want the culture to be, what kind of team you want to cultivate. What was that culture that you wanted to establish heading into your first year?
Well, obviously the culture, we're on each other, we work hard, we try to have that balance between being relaxed but also being focused on the tasks at hand, and it hasn't been easy. I mean, for myself, being in my first year, there's obviously a million decisions I kind of look back on and kind of wonder, hey, did I make the right call here? Did I not? With having a very small team of different just ages, we have Max being a junior, we have that Martha Harrison team. None of us were together, missing with the Graham and left before as a freshman. So there's been a learning curve, and I think we get every day. The more we get to know each other, the more we put in that work together, the better we understand each other, the more our cultures kind of come together as a whole. And I like where we're at right now. I like where our focus is at. And I only see it getting better from this point.
And Max, clearly there is a good relationship between you and your coach with the joking back and forth. And certainly it seems that transcends through the locker room. What have the relationships meant to you in working alongside your teammates this season?
I have to agree with a lot of what he just said. Being is that there's a not a huge but a definite age difference between me and my teammate. Definite year difference. I obviously came in when we had a different head coach and a different assistant head coach. The team was run a lot differently. And I would say, I think that so far everything's kind of, it's a learning curve for me, especially learning how he likes to coach, him learning how I like to play, things like that. But I've enjoyed it a lot so far. I think that, as Tyler said, it really only goes up from here at this point. We can't do any worse, that's for sure. So, we started off rough, but I think that as the season progresses and as we all get to know each other more and as we get to have more of a personal and working relationship, that it just gets better at this point from here.
Max, from the student-athlete perspective, can you just go into a little bit about what it's like balancing being a student at the University of Alabama and then obviously competing in all these events as well?
Right. So this year hasn't really been quite as bad. The competition, the volume of competition has been a little bit lower starting off the year. Usually around this semester, there's a lot more competition. I'll say when you first come in as a freshman, it's not the easiest thing in the world. being a student athlete in high school is a lot different than being a student athlete in college. I will say that. There's a lot more stresses, a lot less free time, but I think that if you're really committed to something that you love, and I do love tennis, then it's totally worth being able to learn to balance that and school, and then kind of just, be able to live that lifestyle. But then at the same time, still save yourself some time to have some fun, and do some things. So I think that, yeah, it's probably not for everybody, but it's definitely a fun experience.
And obviously, you and Coach McKay are still getting to know each other, learn about each other as y'all grow in this first year of him being your head coach. But what is something that you could tell possible future recruits about Coach McKay?
Well, from what I've seen so far, and I to preface this, I kind of knew Tyler before he came in as head coach. The first couple of months I got here, he kind of came back and worked a little bit with us, and then I kind of didn't see him until this year again. I would say he's a fun guy to be around. He's definitely a good coach. He listens, and I think that's something that every coach needs to be able to have, because especially at the college level, when you're in high school, you're a kid, they're not looking for as much input. When you're in college, you're an adult, they're more respectful about you being an adult, and I think that being able to have a coach that has the same mindset as you, wants to do the same things that you want to do, wants to win a national championship, wants to go and succeed and go far this season, I think that I would come here and I would definitely work with Coach McKay.
And, Coach, on that accord, I'll flip the kind of reverse to you in that, especially in your role. It's especially prevalent with the adapted athletics program here that the coaches have a lot to do with the process of bringing athletes in and figuring out which ones mesh well and work well for the program. What do you look for when trying to bring on athletes to Alabama's wheelchair tennis program?
I'm looking for people that love the game of tennis. It's a phenomenal sport. Max knows how difficult of a sport it is to play. And to me, the more you have a passion for the game, the easier it is to work hard at it, to want to manage your time as a student athlete well. Obviously, we look for talented players and good students in the classroom. But for me, if you love the game of tennis, that's something I can always work with and have a great time with you on court and probably grow and get better together for sure.
So, if you have any sweet tooths, what a favorite dessert, if any?
I'm a chocolate cake guy. Pretty
that was
simple.
That was the same as last athlete, Aaron Berry. Yeah.
Standard, but to me it's a good chocolate cake. Yeah.
My mom makes these bomb chocolate cookie brownie bars.
Oh, that sounds good.
Gotta stay loyal to the fam.
Oh, yeah.
That's obviously. I'm very much a cookie and a brownie person. I like my chocolate. So if you combine those two, it's so good.
Now, nothing beats homemade. Have you had the Domino's marbled cookie brownie?
I have not. Are they good?
Those are good.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that
next time you get Domino's, because I know there's a lot of students around Bama who love Domino's. They have the marbled cookie brownie.
I'll have to try that.
So
I'll have to try that.
Appreciate you both taking the time. Best of luck to you guys in the Auburn Open this weekend. We're going to head to commercial again. When we return, we'll be joined by the newest program in adapted athletics, para-track and field. Their head coach, Evan Williams, and Danny Canas will be joining us here on the hour. welcome you back to the Adapted Athletics Hour, served up by Jalapeños Mexican Grill, again live on site in Northport, Alabama at the Jalapeños location here. Spencer Tomsett, Alex Boothe. We're being joined by the para-track and field head coach, Evan Williams, and we are joined by, make sure I get it right, it's Danny Canis. Perfect. All right, well, Coach, you were certainly the newest kid on the block in a sense, not just from a coach's standpoint, but from a program standpoint. Of course, Dr. Harden and Dr. Strand have this long-term goal where para-track and field is now established, and para swimming is going to be coming fairly soon in the next couple of years. So, especially with you being a former athlete within the Adapted Athletics program, what was that moment like when you got the call from Dr. Harden saying, I want you to start one of our newest sports?
It was really special. I hadn't really expected that. It was something I had done before coming to college. I was choosing between either the University of Arizona or for track or here for basketball. So I had a background in it, and he kind of came to me and said that this was something they had in about a 5-year plan, and they were looking to start it, and was wondering if it was something I would be willing to help them start. I just felt really honored to be able to be a part of that, to be able to help kind of drive that forward.
And Danny, it's especially, there's very rare times in our lifetimes where we're able to be a first in something. What was it like for you to be told, hey, you're going to be a part of the first para-track and field team within Alabama's Adapted Athletics?
I was really happy to see that there was another adaptive athletics for para-track and field program starting for college, because I know there's not a lot of programs out there for a lot of the athletes, and so it was nice to see that I'll be able to kind of start that and hopefully get more people involved and get more people doing track and field in college.
And, Coach, you know the season hasn't quite started yet for you all. We know that you managed to secure the same practice times or non-conflicted practice times with the university's track and field team in that regard. What are your thoughts on just the outlook you have for the season with the group you have?
It's very much a kind of first season. We only have 3 athletes this year, but we have very high caliber athletes. I mean, Danny here is going to be going to Pan Games next week. So we feel very strong with the athletes that we do have. We're just kind of low in numbers. We're going to have a meet in about a month. That will be our first meet, kind of easing into the season. Beyond that, we'll have most of our meets will be kind of May through July. So we're still pretty far off from that, but we hope to be a very strong team. We have a lot of strong athletes that we hope will be able to compete very, very well and be able to compete against other colleges that have programs.
And Coach Williams, we've already kind of talked, but you high school went to college choosing basketball. You've kind of always thought of as your over track and field. Just what was it like to be able to play basketball at Alabama, win a national championship, and then get to move on and be able to go to grad school here and at the same time be a head coach of the new track and field program?
It's a really cool feeling. It's a very quick switch for me. It's just kind of had 3 months to make that switch from an athlete to a coach. So it's kind of been an interesting transition, but it's been really great kind of being able to be on the other side of things. Luckily, I came through this program, and a lot of the programs have a lot of similarities to them, so I kind of knew how many of the things and the aspects work, but being able to implement those was really cool.
What really that system because you're heading on off season.
Kind of course, come from the years of things that they do. So able to implement being able to huge, being a habit.
Now, that core hasn't started, but that's certainly some pre-match kind of rituals or traditions you have. So I'll start with you, Danny, on this. And your athletic side, have you thought to have a good workout or good day or anything along those lines?
I don't really have many, but there's definitely yeah, I'd say I'm not really one of those athletes who kind of have those. But
Any from your days of being with the Daph Athletics coach?
Not too many, no. It's had just kind of in the locker room we have songs and that kind of stuff we would always play prior to going out there, but besides that I didn't have any of my own.
Now I know Thunderstruck is the tradition for the football team walking out. Have you thought of a walkout song for the track and field team?
I have not. I'll probably end up leaving that to the athletes to decide. I know it might be a dangerous choice to leave that to them. But
Danny, any thoughts on what you would want to run out to?
just something to get us hyped up.
Absolutely fair. And, you know, about this, the first was several call one among players. With you heading into this year and starting your,
I think that high facilities are good, if not that. So seeing that leaning we have in the train, kind of really
fun. It's especially when a lock.
We've been able to start bonding and everything, and I've started making like a, I guess, a ritual of some sort of just going to get something to eat or something right after practice and talk and get to know each other. And I definitely say that we've been creating a good friendship.
That you think to this track and field, been like a balanced universe while going up to some state.
It's definitely gotten some time to get used to it. Still trying to balance that out. There's definitely been some moments where I was like maybe a little bit stressed, but I was able to, with the help of both the coaches and my teammates, I was able to calm down and like try to, you know, balance that out.
And I know you and Coach Williams are still getting to know each other as you all go through this process together of starting this program. But what is one thing you would be able to say to future recruits about your head coach?
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. But so I know that y'all two are still getting to know each other since this program's just starting up. But what's something that you would be able to tell future recruits about your head coach?
I definitely say he's been very helpful with everything, and I can see that he's definitely trying to program work and have it be the most successful that it can be.
You know, on that accord as well, so one of the things we did leading up to this show is we had a chance to have the fans ask, and someone actually for you in asking, what would you say is your
event that is a part of the Paralympics at this moment for my classification, but I definitely say discus would be my best.
And that same person also asked about, since coming to the University of Alabama, they wanted to know what your kind of experience has been competing, and more specifically on the, have you seen some sort of improvement?
3 athletes that are like that and do have that drive to be able to continue getting better and continue improving themselves. But beyond that, I think one of the big things that can get overlooked for some programs is the academic side. They're student athletes, student comes first, and so we really do believe that that's one of the most important things that they're doing here, and that they need to be able to take care of that before they'll be able to take care of anything on the
now. Everyone's
go, Chief.
Hollister Incorporated and Secure Start Services are here as your trusted information resource for intermittent catheters, urinary collection, and continence care needs. Our job is to help support you. Having comprehensive support services at your fingertips is more important than ever, and Hollister Secure Start Services is here to help. We offer free, customized support for those who use continence care products regardless of the brand being used. Here's how it works. Upon enrollment, a dedicated Secure Start Services team member serves as the main point of contact. This advisor will call to explain services, answer any questions, and check in periodically for ongoing personalized support throughout the patient journey. This includes finding the right products. Based on qualifying criteria, we can recommend the best product to fit most clinical needs. Access to continence care education materials and lifestyle information. We have long-standing relationships with a variety of organizations and can provide connections to the people, knowledge, and tools needed to help support an active life. Navigating supplier matching information. We can connect you with a supplier based on the insurance plan and the supplier's ability to provide the preferred products. If the need arises, clinician access. We have trained nurses available to assist with product questions and help with troubleshooting. These services are all available as a Hollister Secure Start Services member at no cost, regardless of the brand of products being used. We asked members what they thought, and here's what they told us. 98% of patients were glad they enrolled in Secure Start Services. 97% of patients appreciated getting a call from Secure Start Services. 95% of patients were satisfied with the overall experience of speaking with Secure Start Services. When you're ready to make the transition from care, you don't have to do it alone. Hollister Secure Start Services is here to help.
At Jalapeños Mexican Grill, the only thing we love more than our cuisine is serving your family wherever you are. Jalapeños, home of our famous fajita gumbo, is now shipping our local treasure nationwide. Get a taste of our steak, chicken, and shrimp blend covered in pico de gallo and our signature cheese sauce. Send a loved one some gumbo or bring your family by any one of our 3 Jalapeños locations. Show some love this season with Jalapeños Mexican Grill.
For your passion, for your ambition, RGK wheelchairs are made to measure. As individual as you are, like an extension of your body, to maximize your potential, to enhance your confidence. We take over 30 measurements with millimeter precision to ensure your perfect fit, optimizing your comfort and performance. Your chair is expertly handcrafted using the highest quality materials, tailored entirely to you. Your ambitions drive us for life. For sports. For dreams. We are RGK.
And we welcome you to our final segment of the Adapted Athletics Hour, served up by Jalapeños Mexican Grill, again on site in Northport, Alabama, at the Jalapeños Mexican Grill location here off of Rose Boulevard. Spencer Tomsett and Alex Boothe, and we are privileged to be joined by Giovanni Gomez, the owner himself of Jalapeños. Well, first off, we appreciate you taking the time out of your very hectic schedule. I know you just came in from Montgomery a little bit ago with all the other locations you have, and I want to start out, we've had this conversation off of the air, but I think it's important for the fans to know about what the journey has been like from you, from the moment you said, yes, we want to support Adapted Athletics, to now, being able to have this come to full fruition.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me in your show. And look, for us, for our business, for my business partners, it's just an honor to be associated with such a caliber program. To be able just to interact and watch these young athletes perform. So for us, it was just a big opportunity. And I mean, not to give back. We get the return on investment on just being supporters of such a great program. So again, to be able to know Coach Harding and it just have such a great family that for us it's an honor to be associated with them.
And you talked about being able to watch these athletes and see them over the years. I know that for the RGK Tide tip-off, you guys were catering the event there and you got to watch a little bit. What has your impression been, at least on the wheelchair basketball side, so far for the season?
Oh my God, it's impressive. It's impressive just to go over there and watch these guys battle, because every game that you go, it's just a battle.
Sir.
Whether you go and watch tennis or whether you go and watch, the women's basketball or the men's basketball, it's just a battle and it just, I wish I can even play, basketball itself, and it's just amazing.
And, on that accord as well, Jalapeños is certainly now, there's not just excitement within Adapted Athletics, there's also excitement around the Jalapeños scene. And you were talking to us earlier, the fajita gumbo is the staple and what you're known for. There's a new flavor that you're having to bring out. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, we're excited. Actually, today marks the actually announcement, the big day for us to come out with our second line. So I guess, I told you that, we've been packaging, shipping fajita gumbo nationwide, and just our original fajita gumbo, which is chicken, steak, and shrimp. But today we launch our chicken, sausage, and bacon fajita gumbo, which is off the charts. People love it, and I think it just kind of give us another opportunity to reach out to more people that have like shrimp allergies or don't like shrimp, and it just amazing. It's just such a great profile, great flavor. So it's good.
Well, Giovanni, I wanted to just say thank you again, just because how much work really got put into making this happen tonight, and it was just been such a great time here at Jalapeños in Northport today. And this food in front of us looks incredible. I've had the fajita gumbo so many times, and every time I look at it, I still feel like I got to dig right into it. But
well, I say that is a heaven on a ball.
Oh,
it
yeah.
is, yeah.
It's so amazing.
Oh, yeah. And I did also want to highlight, so you've been to the new location.
Yes.
There's a new Jalapeños location downtown Tuscaloosa. Of course, we're here in Northport. You usually host there's one of the high schools has their coaches show and everything. But I believe it's been now a month, maybe 2 months or more since you've opened that location. How's downtown Tuscaloosa doing?
It's amazing, and I don't know if a lot of people know the story behind downtown, but downtown was our original location 21 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's such a special place for us to be able to go back, close the circle, and get back over there where we started. That was our roots, that was the genesis of Jalapeños restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
So for us to get back over there, and actually, I mean, to kind of twist it up a little bit, and become the largest tequila bar in the South.
Oh, man.
And I got to give props to my partner, Justin Greenville, because, I mean, he got the vision, he got the idea of say, you know what, we want to make something big, And we have 257 tequilas and mezcals.
Oh.
And I mean, that's huge because, I mean, we got to claim that title, okay? We're in a title town. We're in a champion town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're we have to, I mean, we can say that we're the tequila champions in the South because there's nobody in the South that can even come close to us.
I think Tuscaloosa now can be mantraed as where tequila legends are made. Absolutely.
That's right.
Hand me over those straws. So we know the fajita gumbo is in front of us. So just give us a description here of what the other ensemble is we're working with.
So right here you got your strawberry margarita.
Okay.
Which I mean is fresh strawberries. You got that, and you got the mango margarita.
Okay.
Very great. Too. I mean, whether it's summer, whether it's winter, they're all great. Then, of course, right here in the middle, you got one of my favorite tequilas, Adictivo. Which, I mean, you can sip it, you can put it in the margaritas, but, I mean, it just I mean, you guys have quite a line-up over here.
We have a line-up.
And it looks like that's fried ice cream, and we got the
fried ice cream, caramel churros.
Caramel churros.
I mean, they're just amazing, too.
All right. So I learned this from Bar Rescue. If you're going to taste alcohol, you do the tip on the straw.
That's
and
awesome.
you stick here. Oh, my God. That is dangerous. That is one of the most dangerous things.
So
now, let me try. You said this is, what is it, pineapple? Not pineapple?
Yeah, I'm taking a sip straight from
mango.
it.
Mango, okay.
Mango, yeah.
Wow, the mango's great.
Oh,
my goodness.
I mean,
that mango one's even better.
Great.
You got probably two of my favorites there, too.
All right. Now I got to try this tequila in that regard. Because this is.
You're about to get spoiled. Okay? And I'll tell you a little bit about this tequila. Of course, we're probably, one of the few, if I want to say one of the only restaurants that carry Adictivo. And we just actually came back from the distillery in Mexico. 2 weeks
perfect.
ago.
Oh, wow.
We visited the distillery, and it's a very, young tequila, about 2 to 3 years old, aged on a French oak barrel.
Man.
But I mean, it just to pair with your gumbo, that just actually
So,
the perfect match.
I'll tell you this. I'm traditionally a bourbon guy. I love Jack Daniels and everything. They released a distiller series that was aged in añejo tequila barrels. And that is some of the most dangerous alcohol you could ever have. It's in this small bottle and everything. And especially when you look behind the scenes at that aging process and everything, whether it's tequila or bourbon or any of that stuff, it's really special to be able to see that behind the scenes.
It is amazing. And to your point, I mean, again, Justin and I just got back from Mexico, and to watch their process and to watch how they made this tequila, the Adictivo, it's just amazing to learn. I mean, how they get the final product, and this right here. So all of my bourbon friends that only drink bourbon, and they say, "Man, I don't drink tequila."
Yeah.
and I said, "Look, I'm gonna challenge you."
Oh yeah, that's good.
And I tell you what, interesting fact about this that they do blind tastings with this tequila, where they put a whiskey, a bourbon, this tequila, and even a port, okay? And they ask people, which one of those is tequila? They can figure it out.
Man.
It's got such a, nice profile.
Oh, yeah. And it has that kind of bite that you usually have with like bourbon or even scotch in that regard.
Got honey, caramel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just an amazing.
All right.
All right.
So the first time I tasted this
game time.
was
Take a bite.
Game time.
Take a bite. That might be the 50th time I've had it, and it's still amazing every single time I have it.
That's the second time I've ever had it, and this is where I'm recommending people to go.
I mean, it just, chicken, steak, and shrimp.
Oh, yeah.
Pico de gallo, cheese, and cheese makes everything just better.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when people ask me, what does it taste like? You can tell it. You can.
You can't.
No.
You say you have to try it.
Yeah.
You have to try what because otherwise, you cannot describe what all goes into it.
It's such a great combination of flavors,
It is.
and
It is.
and really, it's hard for me to order anything else every time I come here because it's just such a terrific signature dish.
It is. And actually, that became our signature dish. That became our embedded in our logo. So we're Jalapeños Mexican Grill, home of the fajita gumbo.
Oh, yeah. You see that on the signs all around Alabama and everywhere. All right. Now,
I've been looking forward to
it
this.
might be the home of the fried ice cream might be the other place that goes on here. So I got to ask Giovanni because you definitely have success in this business and everything, and the fajita gumbo is some good. How do you stay so in shape with all this great food?
That's a great question.
I use like extra large clothes. That's how I stay in shape.
This is an XL shirt. I'm on the same boat with you.
But I tell you what, I eat my food every single day, and it's hard to stay in shape, and it's hard to to stay. Having every day going through the kitchens and you can't help but just start picking up stuff and.
Oh yeah, especially you think about all the aromas and the smells going around you when they're cooking that fajita gumbo and the other dishes.
I just had dinner and I feel like jumping on that. Okay, so.
All right, well, I think we have to. I think we have to complete the tasting of these caramel churros
right
and
here.
everything. So
let me get these churros.
Cinnamon and caramel churros. That's something new we added to the menu.
Oh man!
And especially when they just come out of the kitchen. It's just like they're warm. They have that chocolate drizzle on top. They're just amazing.
I could see some of our camera guys on the other side drooling at this stuff. They're ready to taste it all of it.
Y'all get some of that too, okay?
Well, Giovanni, we really appreciate the support you have for Adapted Athletics. We support the tasting and everything, and more importantly, I'm trying to remember the exact saying of this. I think from Tommy Boy, like the saying of a deal is only as good as the man who makes it. A business is only as good as one of the men who runs it. And you certainly have that amazing character that we love surrounding ourselves with. So we appreciate you taking the time to be here and looking forward to the continued partnership between Adapted Athletics and Jalapeños.
I appreciate it again. It's an honor for us, for our partners, and for our business to be associated with such a great program.
Oh, yeah.
We look forward. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere. And we just appreciate you guys. Again, for us, it's just an opportunity. And when we had the opportunity to engage with the Adapted Athletics program, it was just a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah.
We just love it. We love that. We love all the athletes, and roll tide.
Roll tide. I don't know how it could be pulled off, but that fried ice cream needs to be catered at every one of the events. I don't know how we're going to do it, but that has to happen at some point.
That's a challenge, man.
Oh, yeah. maybe the churros will happen. But, well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate those of you who are watching retroactively or have joined us live for the entirety of the Adapted Athletics Hour. It's been a great pleasure. Alex and I have really enjoyed ourselves. It's been one of the better nights we've had throughout the semester and throughout the year. Be sure to stick to BamaAdapted.com. The Jalapeños Invitational starts Friday night at about 6:30. Alex will be on call for that, as well as on Saturday all day for the events. For Alex Boothe, our producer Theodore Fernandez, all the hardworking men and women make this run so smoothly. I'm Spencer Tomsett saying so long from Northport as we conclude this week's Adapted Athletics Hour.